G'day mates, it's your host Mary O'Neill Phillips and you are listening to Country Outdoors Podcast.
Well guys, I'm here with Sydnie Wells. She's a good buddy of mine. Started out with Tim Wells' show. She's the daughter of Tim Wells and Kerry Wells and now the host of Barstool Outdoors, and we've never had done a podcast together. We're in fish camp. Tomorrow we're going fishing with Mexican Gulf charters down here in Venice, Louisiana for yellowfin tuna, which I have not fished for. But have you fished for tuna before?
Yes, I have fished for tuna on the East Coast though, so I haven't been down here to fish, but I heard it's an absolute ball down here.
Yeah, and so like we try to get together and plan these trips and it literally never happens, and so really the only way that it's ever going to happen, probably, hopefully not actually, is like around work. But
I know, but it's okay.
Luckily we like doing the same thing, so it doesn't feel like work. But yeah, so yeah, we haven't been together since we went frog snatching.
That's been maybe 3 years ago. I mean, we're together every year at conventions and everything, but when it comes to like a hunting or fishing, little why my brain's
well,
dead.
it's like 10 p.m. at night, or maybe not, it's like 8:30. And anyway, I just learned that Sydney's not a morning person, so I'm not allowed to wake her up in the morning with a smile. So I'm going to wake up in the morning and be like, "Hi, Sydney, here's your coffee. Can't wait to go fishing with you."
I'm just not a morning person, but I'm so open with that. I tell everybody. I'm mute, so when if I'm mute, just let me be mute.
I love it. All right, so I want to kind of go back a little bit and get your story for everyone who doesn't know you, who, isn't a hunter or a part of the hunting industry, doesn't watch Barstool. You grew up in a little town in Illinois, Canton, Illinois, which I always think it's really funny that you come from Illinois because it's one of the states that has the strictest rules when it comes to weapons and all that kind of stuff. And we kind of joke in my family a little bit about like how you guys are essentially, there's like the state of Illinois, and then there's the Wells family.
I know. You always joke. You always say, "How can you live in Illinois? How can you live in Illinois?" But we have big deer.
And where you live is like all same kind of people.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think when people think of Illinois, they think of Chicago, and Chicago is just like, I had a conversation with one of my coworkers, and he's like, "Wasn't Chicago in Southern Illinois?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" No. Chicago takes up the whole north side of Illinois, and Illinois is such a long state that it could take you 8 hours to drive through the whole thing vertically. And we're in central Illinois. You go past Chicago, and everything else is cornfields and a bunch of people that likes to probably hunt or fish.
Yeah.
That's the majority of Illinois. A bunch of good country folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, tell us a little bit about, so you've got a brother as well, and you grew up in, was it always Canton where you guys were?
Yep. So we lived in a small town out on the outskirts of town. I have my brother, Clint. He's in law school right now. And then I have, and he's my younger brother, so he's 25. And my parents, so it's just us four. And then we're lucky in the town that we grew up in. All of our family was there. Both sets of grandparents. My mom and dad are both from our town, our hometown. My mom did live in Massachusetts for a little bit growing up, so we have some connections out there. But we always grew up in the same small town. It shaped me who I am.
And how did your parents meet?
So my parents are 6 years apart, but my mom and dad have always known each other. It's a small town, It's so small that everybody knows everybody. Everybody's in each other's business.
Your mom was the hottest chick in town.
Probably, I don't know. But
sure.
So she moved, her sophomore year of high school, moved out east, came back. I'm pretty sure my dad was having a bachelor party. I don't live there anymore, but we live in the house, and they still live in the house where I think it's my dad's first house he ever bought.
Wow.
So they just like added on. I mean, it's out in the country. It's beautiful. You've been there.
Yeah.
But I think he was having a bachelor party. My grandpa told him to go out there. He was having a party of some sort. She went out there. He was like, "Wow, she's hot." They dated for 4 months. He proposed. They've been married for 28 years.
That's awesome. And so when did they start the show?
So I'm 26. I believe he started it probably 27 years ago. So he probably was around, and this is a rough estimate, I think he's probably around 32, 33 years old, maybe in his 30s when he started, I believe. He's always been an entrepreneur, doing his own things, buying and selling things. never wanted to work for anybody else. And then he started Relentless Pursuit TV, and I think he was just like on some local channels. And then he started to come out with DVDs, and I think the DVDs really took him to the next level because the internet wasn't really a big thing.
Yeah.
Television was kind of a big thing, and then we all had at home DVDs that we all watched. And he had Lethal Flight was the DVD that he had. I know all these things too because ever since I was little, I was going to these conventions with him.
Yeah, well,
So,
you didn't know, you've never known anything different, have you?
no, and so he's been doing that, and then the DVDs took off, and then he just, he shot the grizzly between the eyes with his recurve, and that was a big thing. So he just did a lot of cool, badass stuff that really just took flight, and people were like, wow, that was cool. This guy's crazy, and he did conventions. He was gone 24/7, hunting and filming and doing as much as he could, doing as many conventions as he could, working his tail off to make a name for himself. And I just remember growing up, I had no idea what my dad did. I asked him in the 2nd grade what he did for work, and he told me he sold number 2 pencils, and he sold them 25 cents each. You can see him saying that, and I believed him. I didn't know, I was little.
Well, what's he tells you what he actually does, and you go to school and you tell the kids, and they're like, what? And then they tell their parents, and they're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, probably it wasn't even that big that back then, but I remember
He wouldn't have believed you.
when my mom first told me, your dad's a little famous, I remember her saying that, and I remember asking her if he was as famous as Hannah Montana. Yeah. I don't remember what
So
her
the
answer
DVD
was.
shop, it was like
Well,
Hannah Montana, Tim Wells, Pammy and Tommy DVDs.
yeah, probably. So what they did, I think, obviously this would have to come from him, but I believe after hearing him tell the story to some other people, there would be just bins. You remember the old bins in our hometown would be Farm
Oh yeah,
King.
like the cheap, like the buckets.
Yeah,
You get
for $5 you get it,
Yeah.
or for $5 you get 5 DVDs or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think there was
yeah.
just bins, and he would want to sell bins, and people just bought him, and that's how his name got out there.
Well, that's how rappers and all of that would do their mixtapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I think really started a lot of things for him, and then he's just been working ever since, and he doesn't stop working. I don't know if he's ever going to retire.
Yeah.
He needs to. He needs to enjoy life a little bit, but
So, okay, and you obviously got like the entrepreneurial mind from him too, and the ability to kind of foresee, I would say, social trends and stuff like that when it comes to content and all of that, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Your first hunt, how old were you?
I don't know, but I remember him telling me that when I was a baby, he went coyote hunting, and we sat in a blind. He sat me on his lap, and he said he started mouth calling for the coyotes, and they were coming in. 2 of them were coming in, running in, and I looked up at my dad, and he said that I was intrigued by the calling, so I started just screaming, trying to call myself, and they ran off. But, I was his little boy, so he was all excited. He took me everywhere, and he said I don't remember this, obviously, but he just said he took me everywhere, and all the hunts and everything, and we have at-home DVDs, which is I'm really, really thankful for, because I get to show my kids one day, and we have those. But I don't remember not the cassette. They're kind of cassettes. I don't even know what they were.
Beta, like small little tapes.
Maybe I don't really know what they are, but it was from 20 years ago. He's been filming us since we were little, shooting fish.
The little handy cam ones, probably.
It was a big camera that he filmed on.
Okay.
It was like on his shoulder almost.
Okay.
But he filmed us since we were little, so we've been hunting and fishing forever. I think I shot my first turkey when I was 6. It was a Jake in Texas.
Perfect.
Spined him with my bow.
Great.
And I remember he was so excited. I didn't know the concept of like all the excitement. He was filming it all, but I didn't really know. I just like, oh, this is cool. I'm hunting with my dad.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it. I just remember everything outdoors. Like it's just like you with the farm in Australia. Like you just remember this is just how you grew up.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a hobby. It was just how you grew up.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's go fast forward a little bit, and you're going to college, right? So you went to college and you were studying nursing.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you were in a sorority.
Yeah.
What's that initiation process like? And especially, like, I want to know the contrast too of you being in a sorority and you're a girl that like hunts and all of this, but you're also a girly girl too. But like, were you kind of different from the girls in college, or?
So I went to college. I think I had in like my Twitter bio, like God, guns, and something cringy and funny and like
Bible verse.
I don't know.
John 14.
It was like GGG, like God, guns, and who knows what I put. But I just remember that because I had a friend. A lot of the girls, you know, when you go to college, I think there's like websites and stuff you can try to find roommates and friends and sororities or whatnot. I remember reaching out to a girl and DMing her and be like, hey, do you want to be roommates potentially? She never messaged me back. And that's fine because she ended up being one of my really good friends. But when I went and did sorority, and I played softball, so I met some friends through there.
Yeah.
Some girls were like from Chicago, you know, the city. They're like, we saw, like one of the girls said, like, I saw your Twitter bio, and I was like, I don't know if we're gonna get along because you're so different than me, but it's fine. Like, I'm a girly girl. I'm very outgoing. She's like, we were become great friends. So I think a lot of girls maybe thought that I was gonna be a little different, since I'm a hunter, and you know, some people could be taken aback. That was in 2016. Like now, people love to hunt and fish, and I think that's like great, and it's a big trend almost now, especially with females, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I just posted it for fun because I did it with my dad and my mom. And none of the girls treated me different. I mean, at first, my friend said, "I'm not gonna lie, I saw that you messaged me, but I thought you were gonna be weird." It's funny because we laugh about it because they know me. You know, I'm a girly girl, especially in college. I didn't love the sorority. I loved the friends I made in the sorority. Sororities, you know, holy cow, like people take it way too seriously. Like,
tell us about that. Like, what is it? Is there initiation?
Yeah, you get like initiated. You go through recruitment. You get initiated.
What does that look like though? Because like I've watched the Alabama one, like the doco.
Oh, well, see, I went to Illinois Wesleyan, super small private school, like so different than like the big schools. They do like go all out. It's just like, I can talk all about it. There's a lot that goes into it, but I mean, recruitment's just different. I didn't really go through sorority recruitment because I was in softball. I signed up for it and then I dropped recruitment the next day because I was like, I don't want to do all that crap. That's an all-day thing. That's not my vibe. I want to enjoy myself. But there was a little box that you could check, like where you get a snap bid, as in they could still pick you to be in the sorority. And I remember I'm like a bed, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna click it just in case, you know. Because then I started having some regret. It's just like kind of fun, you know. It's a small school, so everybody's in a fraternity or sorority, and the day of the bid day, everybody was getting their bids and whatnot. And the girls that when I did drop, there was a girl that is super awesome. Like she's from Chicago, but we're very similar, and she was older than me, and she was like just very sad that I dropped. But yeah, they just called me and were like, we want to offer you a snap bid. And it was the one sorority that I would have been like, yeah, I want to be in that sorority.
Cool.
And I was very excited because I was like, yes, I did make a mistake. I wanted to do that. It's just like a social thing. You just meet a lot of people, a lot of girls. I met my best friends through there. Like, it was so fun. Did not regret it. Like, I had a time of my life living in the sorority house. I like sometimes look back at some girls that I'm like, you take that way too seriously. You try to get people in trouble for stupid things. And we're all in college. Like, come on, you know, I look back at that kind of stuff, but there was a lot of rules and regulations, and some sororities, like, if you don't like go to chapter, you don't go do certain things, they fine you like $500.
What?
Yeah, our sorority,
college kid has $500.
exactly.
To start with.
Our sorority didn't do that, so I can only imagine the big schools. But I love to be in a sorority because I like to dress up and I like to do all that kind of stuff. I mean, I did not like the nitty gritty to it. I missed a lot of chapters and had a lot of excuses. Yeah. But I liked my friends and the social aspects, and I just made memories, you know?
And you're still friends with a lot of those girls now?
Yeah, I have 2 really good friends from my sorority, but I met one of them on my first day of college. She was my best friend, and then she's my best friend my freshman through senior year, and we're still, like, really, really close.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, college was great.
That's awesome. And so you were studying nursing. At what point did you, in the whole experience, decide, because you had to do like your internship and all of that stuff, where did you decide I don't really want to do this, and I kind of want to go into the family business, or like go into a hunting career myself.
Country Outdoors podcast is proudly presented by Nomad Outdoor. Guys, we've worked with Nomad Outdoor since the beginning of Country Outdoors, and there's a reason for that. They have the absolute best hunting apparel in the hunting industry. We have worn their clothing spring, we've worn their clothing in the fall, we've worn their clothing in the summer, we've worn their clothing on the ice, we've worn it everywhere. We absolutely love it. Guys, they're a Southeastern brand. They represent us. They represent sportsmen and women. Whether it's in the field or by the campfire, Nomad Outdoor has something for every occasion. So you'll come on, go check them out.
Yeah, well, I started to gain a following during college. I think it was like my junior year spring break. I remember I had like 40,000 followers, and then it just like doubled that next year.
Yeah.
It just kept going. But I had no intent of making it a career. I had an internship on a medical ICU going into my senior year. I made sure I got in a medical ICU internship because I was like, I'm going straight into an ICU. I don't want to do bedside medical surgical unit. But I wanted to go to like the top of the line, the ICU trauma 1, because I wanted to do bedside for maybe a year and a half, and then go straight into nurse practitioner school and study dermatology. And I wanted to be something around dermatologist, take more classes, whatever I needed to do. I wanted to do dermatology. And I always wanted to go in the medical field since I was little, but I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And so after my internship, I kind of was looking around and like hearing people complain, and I hated night shift. I was a night shift nursing intern, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
Just because like the night shift, I was the 12 to 12. Kudos to nurses who do that, because that's a lot of work, and it's exhausting. But I love the excitement and the hype of like, oh my gosh, we're like level 1. We are first line here. We got to do compressions. That was so fun. But then I graduated. I liked nursing. I don't like love it.
Yeah.
I think I saw some of the other nurses on the floors that just like didn't have good attitudes. I'm like,
Just
oh my gosh, you're
exhausted.
not very happy, and I
Hard
don't really want to be.
work.
Yeah. And I also hated that you have to work like some holidays and stuff. I don't know. It's like I love nurses and all the medical field because the rewards and what you do for people's lives, it's amazing. But anyways, I passed my NCLEX, and I took a job on a medical ICU. And then my dad got mad at me, and he said, why would you do that? You have so much opportunity. You're so young. Let's travel the world together. Because I was during the summer, I was just working for the family business, and I was actually in the Slockmaster department boxing up blowguns every single day of my life. It was brutal, but it was fine. That's how I was like getting money, and I was working, and I was literally like, it was like a room. I don't even know the room size. This was this big. Right here. And like you were in an assembly line with 3 other people boxing random stuff up. But so anyways, my dad was like, you should just travel and try to do content and do this with me. And I had a following. I had like 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
So that's when my dad was like, don't do it. And I said, okay. I called them back, and I said, I have a lot of opportunities. I really appreciate the offer. If I change my mind, I'll call you guys first. And if there's a position opening, I would still love to come back. But and my mom was mad. She was so mad at me.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
because your mom works in the beauty.
Well, no, she was just like, what the heck? Like, you got this degree.
Yeah.
It was hard. You can be in an ICU. That's what you wanted to do. But I was like, I guess I should believe in my dad.
Or do you think that ended up being a God thing? Because I guess not too long after that came the Barstool opportunity, right?
Yeah, so it was definitely a God thing. We were in Oklahoma. I mean, I was praying about it a lot. I mean, I was doing stuff with my dad, and it was fun. But then working with your parents is a lot. Like,
Totally.
I love my parents, but
Living with them, working with them.
yeah, and it's not like I was getting paid, like,
Your
when
own
you work
money.
with your parents, they're kind of like, eh. But, and I had my own little sponsorships going on, but I had a dream in my mind, but I couldn't really piece it together. So I was just praying a lot about it, and I wanted to do something different. I had a name, yes, but I was always known a lot of the time as Tim Wells' daughter, and I wanted to be my own. I wanted to do it on my own. I wanted to be my own.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to my cousin Connor. We were in Oklahoma. I just shot a buck, my drop tine buck, and that night I was telling him, like, I want to do something on my own. I don't know what it is. I got to, like, figure it out. And I'm praying about it. I don't know if I should go back and just work as a nurse. And this was in November, I believe. So I was like 4 months with my dad now, and just traveling and filming for Relentless Pursuit, which was great. You know, it was awesome. I loved it, but I still wanted to do my own, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to rely on him.
Yep.
And, yeah, I was talking to him that night, and then the next day, Dave Portnoy tweeted, wanted host of Barstool Outdoors. I didn't see the tweet, but my friend Jimmy sent it to me. And was like, oh my gosh, you have to send an email and, like, apply. And I was like, holy cow. And I was freaking out because I didn't know the depth of Barstool because there's a lot to it. But I knew Dave, I knew some other people there, and I knew Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
My parents, you know, I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to write an email. I got to send this now. And I was trying to get my parents to help me, and they had no idea what Barstool was. They're like, what? Like, no, I'm not helping you. Like, you know, they didn't understand. But so I just came up with an email. I sent a couple clips of what I've done, and then I got an email back, and I interviewed with
remember
Dave.
you down in Nashville?
Yeah. No, we were together. We were hunting. Oh, I was doing it in Nashville.
For the interview.
Yeah, but then you were with me the second time, too, because then, when I got the job.
In duck camp.
Yeah, so we were together when I got my job.
Yeah.
It was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It
I was
is.
22.
That's crazy. And then I feel like everything's just kind of snowballed from there. It's been fun to kind of see how your career has grown since then, and, you know, the places you've been able to go, and just your confidence as well. Like you've can see that has grown a lot to you. Tell us about that experience. Like, okay, first off, you get this job. Do you fly? You flew to New York for an interview, didn't you?
No, it was all over Zoom. It was like 2020. So
yeah, it was.
It was 2020, going into 2021. So it was still like a COVID thing. You know, I graduated with during the COVID year. It was crazy, but I think that's also why my dad was. You should try to do this. Like, Hunting World didn't shut down.
Exactly.
The hospitals were a mess, but the world was a mess. But people were out. That was when you saw a spike when COVID hit. That's when you saw a spike of all outdoor activities. People were going to the stores, buying a fishing pole for the first time, getting a hunting license for the first time. They didn't want to be stuck inside. They wanted to go out and do that. So I guess I was in that sense. I was like, okay, let's do it. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm saving money. We're not spending anything because everything's shut down besides my small town. When you're in a small town, it's still open.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I Zoomed.
And what was that like speaking to Dave for the first time?
I was nervous, but I knew I needed to be confident because I was a fan of Dave before he became my boss.
Yeah.
So I knew that I needed to be confident in that interview. It wasn't really an interview. He was just kind of like, all right.
Can you hunt and fish?
Seems like you're great. And I just remember saying, like, you're not going to find anybody better. I'm like, I just had to say that, you know. I'm like, I just had to be confident, even though I was like, oh my gosh, this is Dave, you know.
He's not a hunter, is he?
No, not at all.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah. So
pizza critic.
and then he's like, yeah, you got the job pretty much, and I was just so excited, but I didn't know what that meant either.
But
because,
also,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's also kind of a random thing too, because you were going to have a co-host and then he dropped. So it really ended up becoming completely your show, which is a good thing too, I think.
Yeah, no, it was like all mine. And, you know, I'm sometimes thinking about adding somebody. I haven't decided yet. I go back and forth about it, you know, just like it would be like another male probably, you know.
For the balance.
Yeah, the balance. But I don't know. Like, it is mine, and it's been fun. It's a lot of work.
For
but
sure.
it has but
let's talk about that though, because
okay.
people don't understand that, like, you know, anything that you do is work. Like anything in entertainment, anything you do is work. Yes, it's a lot of fun and it's better than being in an office, but like for it to look good, it is a lot of work. So let's talk about that behind the scenes of like what people are seeing. They're seeing, say, what was your last episode that you just did?
I just put out a meet and greet as my first episode of a new series that came out, where I'm going to do once a month and I meet up with somebody and we cook something that's unique. So I just met up with Luke McFadden in Maryland, and we just did a meet and greet. We have 2 episodes, but the latest is the meet and greet where he taught me how to steam crabs.
Nice. And so like what goes into that?
Yeah, so the planning. The planning's a big thing. I think that's like so stressful sometimes because when we travel, it's just, unless it's by yourself. Like when I film at my parents' house or, you know, our farm, it's really nice. Or like my farm, it's nice because it's a little easier. I don't have to worry about other people, but I do self-film a lot of things too, which can be frustrating because you're like going back and forth. I gotta make sure my producer is good. But when it comes to traveling, like Luke, for example, that trip, you know, we gotta make sure the planning's all right. We gotta make sure that I have somebody with me. We make sure his timeline works with my timeline. When we get on the boat, weather, it's always a big thing. That was a crabbing video, so that's like usually a guarantee, which I love the guarantee shoots because that's why sometimes, like, I grew up hunting and fishing. Barstool has let me do a little bit different filmmaking in a sense where I can portray other people's hobbies or work. And then Luke's, was maybe a hobby turned into work, and he's just like very passionate about it. He's a first generation crabber. He's a very cool story. But those are so fun to do because I know I have a guaranteed video. It puts off a lot of, like, I don't have a stress. It eases my stress.
Right.
We get the video done. We Jack, who's my producer, has the footage. He dumps the footage. Usually turnarounds really fast, so it's relevant.
So like for you guys, what does that turnaround look like?
It's either, it can be the following week, or it can be 2 weeks. If we're ahead, we like to be ahead, as in if we're super ahead, we're traveling for the whole month.
Right.
We have a day or two break and we're back on the road. That's where it can get exhausting.
Yeah, physically.
I mean, I love my job. Like, I have the best job in the world. I love it so much. But there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes. Like, you're away from friends and family and events and all that kind of stuff. Like, that sucks sometimes because I'm like, dang, I wish I was there. But I got to see this amazing thing and I love it. The worst is when you have a trip that you planned, you go on it, you're like, okay, we're going to try to shoot this for hunting, or we're going to do a fishing trip, and hopefully we make a really sick video out of it. Bad seas, don't catch anything, nothing cool happens. You essentially is a failure. You don't have a video, and then you have to book another trip that following
and you're in
week.
the hole, however much it's cost.
Yeah, it's like cost. Like, we still have budgets.
Time.
Times, and like the budget relies on the sponsorships. Like, we don't just get to do all the things. Sometimes I just pay things out of my own pocket because I'm like, I really want to make some cool content. Get this. Like, a lot of my hunting trips are usually out of my own pocket just because cool stuff makes people go crazy, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so does easy things. Like, I think anybody can do content. I really do. That's why we have iPhones and they shoot 4K 60. If you want to be a filmmaker, or you want to make a really cool YouTube video, you can totally do it on your own. Get a GoPro at Walmart or Best Buy or wherever you want to. Just buy a GoPro and use your phone, and you can download a video app and you can do it. To make a big cinematic piece, that's a lot of time and effort. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot behind it with our videos because Jack's editing it. I'm very hands-on. I look through the footage. He sends it to me. I look through it. I'll send back edits. He's like, we're a good team though. We go back and forth. We know how each other work. Like, we are very much back and forth. Some people will film a podcast, somebody edits it, they don't even watch it, it's put out.
Right.
Which I like doing podcasts because it's a lot easier, you know.
Right.
You know how it is, Mary. Yep. But behind the scenes, it's just like, you gotta make sure it's all good. Especially when it comes to hunting and fishing, you look through everything. You want to make sure a guest didn't say something that, or you know, you got like a little. Like a body part hanging out. You want to make sure
a butt crack.
Yeah, you want to make sure everything's good. But I hate reviewing videos. That's the worst part of my job.
Because you're reliving the entire thing, and especially if it's a sore point and it's been like a bad hunt, you're like, I have to relive this entire thing.
I don't like listening to my voice either.
True.
But no, it's all good. It's a fun job. I've seen the world. I have learned so much. I feel like you said my confidence.
For sure.
It's up. I've become a great host. I've been just so knowledgeable in new things like fishing, deep sea fishing. I know so much more than I knew 2 years ago. I knew nothing before I started this job.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, like, I just have become my own content creator and my own boss where I know how to delegate tasks. I know how to, flying, I can be your travel agent. You want me to be your travel agent? I can be it. I can do a lot of things, and I love it because I help my dad, and I know a lot about social media. It's just job has really molded me to be like a jack of all trades when it comes to the behind the camera. Because I film a lot of my own stuff. I don't think people realize that. I have my own camera with my different lenses and my GoPros. And I think Jack, my producer, loves that because sometimes I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll put it on a tripod and carry it around and film a video. And he's like, great. I'm gonna hang out this week. And I'm like, great. But another thing was when you're a content creator, that's any kind of content creator, you're not taking the weekends off. You're working on the weekends.
Yeah, exactly.
So my weekend, I typically work on the weekends, and I will have a couple of days off, and then I'm back on the road.
Yeah.
And this is the first week. Last week I was home for a whole week for the first time in 3.5 months.
Oh, why were you home for the week, Sydney?
So I got engaged. I'm sorry, everybody.
Hold your hand up. That was a perfect segue into this old shiner.
Zach, myself, and the Country Outdoors family are proud to have Hawk Optics as a sponsor. When it comes to clarity, precision, and overall quality of the product, we have found Hawk Optics to be top of the line and field tested their products year round and had great success. You can check out this example here on the screen of my recent Colorado elk hunt where I harvest this monster bull elk using the Frontier 30 SF hooked up onto my fix from Q. All right, guys, I have a confession to make. I have a terrible sense of direction, and it's no wonder I haven't got lost in the woods or eaten by a bear at this stage, but there's a reason for that, and it's because I have Onyx Hunt. Onyx Hunt is incredible. It's an incredible mapping feature, and it has helped me navigate my way out of some pretty sketchy areas using the compass feature. I've been able to get back to my truck. I've been able to drop pins and waypoints to be able to coordinate how to get to A to B, to be able to find that turkey that I saw on the road and knock and get permission. Guys, though, if you really want to know who's a fanatic at dropping pins, it's my husband, Zach. If you look in his phone, he has thousands of these pins. If it was the 1920s, he'd be able to trade them and get some money out of them. But don't take my opinion. Go and download Onyx today and check it out for yourself. Good luck this fall.
I got engaged, which was kind of crazy. I'm sorry for everybody. I'm sorry if I broke your heart, but I'm very happy. I'm very excited. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm 26. I'm going to be 27. It's like time. Like I want to have a family one day, and I want to be married, and I found my best buddy, and he's great. And
let's talk about Ramsey and where you guys met, and when did you know that he was the one?
Wow, this is good. I've never talked about like a love life before. This is kind of scary, but okay, that's fine. That's okay. So we met on we actually met through mutual friends. My friend Spencer.
Yep, I know Spencer.
So my friends were begging me to go on a ski trip. This is when I really was a workaholic and I didn't do anything like fun, which if you turn your job into your hobby, you have to have another hobby. You can't just
100%.
And I just turned my hobby into my job into a hobby. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My hobby into my job. And that's when I was like, I can't do anything else. I have to make videos, which I'm very happy I did because I gained the following. I gained the credibility. It's the most important thing. But they're like, come on, like you need a break. Come hang out. It was in February. I was like, okay, fine. I guess Ramsey knew of me. I didn't really know of him. I seen him on like a FaceTime, and I thought he was I didn't really know anything about him. But he was excited, I guess, because he's always wanted to meet me. But I went on this ski trip. I met him. That was the first time we met. Like, he was very nice, kind, just a gentleman. We were just friends. I wasn't there with any intent. But then, we've been just like, we've seen each other at some trade shows, and like a month later, in March, I just was like, I think you're great, like it was mid-March. I was like, I think you're great. And we went on a date a month later.
Where did you go on a date to?
So I ended up meeting him in Georgia, and it was like a stop from Illinois because I was coming home from a trip, and we went on a date
on that midnight train to Georgia.
So we went on a date, and I knew then. I was like, he's definitely somebody that I could picture myself with. Like, and I don't want to get too much details. I don't like to get too personal, but I just knew. Like, I think when you know. Like, I wasn't looking, and then I think when I started to get to know him as a friend, I really thought, like, this guy has a lot of qualities. He loves God. He loves to hunt and fish. He's a hard worker. He's very ambitious. That's very attractive.
Yeah.
And he's just very, very kind to everybody around him, and he's just like a trustworthy person. On the other hand, he came back from that ski trip, I guess, which we were just friends, you know, and he just met me, and I think I was just kind of, you know, I was trying to relax. Like, I was at a little bit of anxiety, and it was time to just chill out, and he just went back. He's like, oh my gosh, I found my wife. He told his friends, I found my wife. But the problem is, like, I don't know if that's going to ever happen, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, so now we're going to get married. But, I mean, that spring, we flew back and forth to each other. And May, we became official. And I just knew. Like, it's like when you know, you know. I just met my best friend, so.
So May, and so it is now
August. May 2023.
So it's
August
been a
2024.
year and a bit.
A year and some change.
Yeah.
But he knew, like, my mom asked, like, was it love at first sight?
Yeah.
And I said, I was like, no, you know, because and he's like, yes.
Absolutely, 100%, hands down, yes.
Yeah. I, like, you know, I went into it, like, I also came off, like, a relationship in the past, you know, so.
Yeah.
I was hesitant, and then, yeah, became official in May, and I was like, this is it.
And so the proposal, where were you?
So the proposal. So I knew it might have been coming, but I had no idea when, because this is so funny. You're getting everything.
Well, the photos are on Instagram, so
yeah,
like,
I know. This is crazy, guys. I don't talk about my personal life. Everybody knows that, but it's okay. So I got back from a trip, and I was really excited because I went to Target that day. And when you go shopping, I gotta move my phone from my.
Really excited. I went to Target.
You know when you buy something new, you're just in a good mood. So you caught me at a great time. I was in a great mood. I was doing stuff in the house, and I was looking horrible. I had like a little sports bra on and some shorts, and my hair was in a little rat tail. And I asked him all day, I was like, let's go golfing. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, let's shoot the bows today, and let's shoot our bows and invite the guys. He's like, no. I'm like, you are so boring. Like, why are you being so boring? You know, I get super stubborn and irritated easily, which is a downfall of mine. I'm learning on to be a little patient. But yeah, he just, he asked if I wanted to go on a side-by-side ride. He came home from work early. I was like, wow, you're here early. He's like, do you want to go to see the guys, our guy friends, and go on a side-by-side ride? I cooled off. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, oh, shoot, we're going to see the guys. So I was going to wear a disgusting t-shirt. Thankfully, I didn't because I smelled it. I was like, ooh, it's a little dirty. And then he, like, threw a tank top at me. He's like, wear this. I'm like, okay. And we went down there. And I was like, oh, you put the fishing poles in. Are we going to go fishing? And he goes, yeah, let's go fishing. I'm like, okay, great. Usually we go see the guys, and then we go fishing. Well, we went straight to fishing. I thought that was weird. I overanalyze everything, so I was like, something's going on. And long story short, he went, like, mute when we got down there. It was really weird. I was trying to ask him questions because usually we're goofing off and talking about the day, and he just didn't say anything. I'm like, what is going on? And I was like, well, how was work? And he goes, it was good. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Okay, now my heart's pounding. Something's going on. And I looked at his pockets.
You're like, I see something in that pocket.
Yeah. I saw his phone. I saw a little box. But I thought he was going to propose another time, and I like did like a drive-by, feel his pocket. And I was like, oh, it's an AirPod. It's his AirPods. It's like, okay, that's not happening. So I was like, well, maybe it's happening. I'm not sure, but he was being weird. And he's like, I said, hey, babe, let's go fish over there to the left where we usually fish. He goes, no, let's go fish over here. I'm like, no, it's thick and there's probably snakes.
Never go over there.
And yeah, I'm like, no. And he goes, come on, let's go over there. I'm like, I don't want to. He's like, come over here. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go over there. So I'm just like a little kid, you know, when you follow your parents, like, oh, we gotta go over here. But then I knew in my heart, I'm like, he's about to propose. And he like grabbed my arm, and he's just like, come here. And then he said some things, and he did say I was a very stubborn woman. And
that's great.
Then he proposed, and our friend was hiding behind a big boulder. And the funniest part about it is when we got down there too, we had our dog with us, and he kept trying to go somewhere. He was trying. He doesn't bark, so he's a horrible guard dog. Does not bark. He sniffed out the friend, tried to go to the friend,
That's so funny.
And Ramsey kept yelling at Mash, get over here. I'm like, let the dog run around. What are you doing? And so the first picture, I didn't post it, but it's hilarious. Ramsey's grabbing me. I have a fishing pole in my hand, and Mash is just staring at the camera. Like, I knew you were there.
That's awesome. I feel like that's something Forrest Gump would do too.
But it was perfect because Ramsey didn't want anybody there. Ramsey's like, I want it to be us.
Yeah.
It was perfectly us. Like, we were fishing and doing our own thing, and it was good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you're going to take your time, get things together, get your ducks in a row. We're going into the fall now. So, I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on before you can even think about wedding planning, really, yeah?
Mm-hmm, yeah. I'm like, this is the worst time you could have possibly proposed. Best day of my life. Worst time to propose. Yeah. Well, you could have done this in June, and we could have July and August, but it's okay. Like, we'll figure it out. We're going to have a 2026 wedding. We're not going to do anything. Like, it's hunting season. Like, I don't have time to plan.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the fall then. What are your plans for the fall?
So for the fall, very exciting. Per usual, we're going to be going after those Midwest whitetail. I'll be home in Illinois where I got some deer that I'm eyeing up. Very excited about that. But September, it's kind of crazy. I should know my plans by now. But the one thing with the Wells is we are off the cuff. We just roll with it. We get a call, we go.
Yeah.
So I might be mule deer hunting. If I don't mule deer hunt, Ramsey and I are going to get in the camper. We have a little camper that we have, and we're going to camp out in Colorado for a week. Yep. Try to go after some elk. We're going to do Wyoming pronghorn with our buddies Rick and Amy. I did that last year with them. So much fun. Shot my first one on a spot and stock. We're going to try to do that again.
Great.
Either over water when it's super hot or when they're fully rutting.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go with my dad. We're going to go up to Canada, elk hunt, fly from Canada to Alaska, and try to shoot a moose.
That's awesome.
So that's a fun September. Going to go up to Canada in October, shoot ducks with my friends from Dive Bomb. And I'm going to have some of my coworkers come on some like pheasant hunts and stuff. But September's full of things. And then we're going to kind of dwindle back down just to waterfowl and just really try to fill my deer tags. Like I feel like everybody knows.
Yeah.
We talked about it. Yeah. It's like Midwest, fill a deer tag. Once that happens,
then you can take
game on.
Yeah.
We can go anywhere else.
Yeah.
But until I get my Illinois tag, hopefully it's my favorite time of the year is in between Halloween and really right before Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving. That's my favorite.
Thanksgiving tends to be one of the best days as well.
Yeah, it does. It's my favorite. That's my favorite. Thanksgiving.
2 years ago, Zach's family all got COVID and called us while we were driving up for Thanksgiving. And we had tags in Illinois, and we were like, oh, sucks to suck. I guess we'll just go hunting.
You're like, see ya.
We had the camper, and we're like, perfect.
No, that is like the best. That's why I told Ramsey, I said, love you, love your family. Yeah. We will always spend Thanksgiving with mine. Yeah. Like, I will always be in Illinois. Like, my dad would kill me. 100%. My dad would be like, you are not a Wells.
For sure. And so, okay, so for prep on the farm, I know you're not there as much as what you were, but what does that look like when you're back, and what's your dad doing to prep the farm?
Yeah. So, the farm. So July, I feel like July is a really hot time for a lot of people to like just start. Like that's where you just start putting out trail cameras and tree stands and everything. But I mean, we've had the farm for a very long time. We did just get a new one, which we're very excited about. Very, very excited about. But to prep, I'm not there as much just because I am fishing a ton and I'm
on the road.
I'm on the road. Like I live in my truck essentially, or a bag. Yeah. But when we're back, so food plots, that's a big one. You know, we're tending to food plots.
What's he planning?
So we planning, we got like alfalfa, we got beans, we got corn, we got clover, just like a variety of really, especially for, you know, we like the late winters, you know.
Because you can't hunt over bait in Illinois, right?
Nope, no baiting in Illinois.
Just crops.
Yep, just crops.
Yeah.
So food plots is a big thing. We have a friend that helps us a lot too because we have a lot of tree stands. Like, I mean, some of these farms that we've hunted, my dad's been on since he was a little boy. Yeah. So tree stands, we're always going back, making sure they're sturdy, new straps, make
Yep.
sure nothing's chewed through. That's a big thing. We don't want any accidents, especially on our farm, so we avoided that at all costs. Trail cameras, we are putting up trail cameras like no other. That's the most exciting part. And really, unless it's a new farm, it's just like food plots, tending to those. That's a big thing, though. That's a lot of work. And clear cutting, we've been clear cutting some of the properties and making new roadways and trees. And we make sure that some of the tree stands we hang, we make sure that like the access and how we get up and into them. And also, like, I think tree stands is where you hang a tree stand is the most important thing with deer hunting.
Yeah, you're gonna have different wind options.
Yeah, the wind options, but you also like the thing with I learned a lot about this with experience, but also like my dad too. Like you don't want to say you're doing a west wind. So where I'm at right now, say like this is west. Okay, so we get a west wind. You want to make sure that no matter which way a lot of deer hunters know this, but like whichever way the deer's coming in, they can come from every direction. They're not going to smell you. If they're going to come from a direction, they're going to smell you. Trim some trees down, make it so they can't go that way. They have to go a certain way around. Like that's a big thing that we do is just make sure like whichever way they're coming, you direct them. They don't come a weird way. Some deer do that. They're like, what the heck? Why did that deer just do that? You know? But for the most part, we're just looking around, trimming trees and looking at stands and figuring out pathways. And sometimes we put a little bit of a water source in areas too, like a little kiddie pool. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of the farms we've hunted our whole lives, so we kind of know what to do. We know the game plan and what we're up to. It's mostly just tree stands, making sure nobody's falling out, and food plots.
Awesome. And so what bow are you shooting this season?
I'm shooting my Hoy, so I'm very excited about that. I got the RX-8, so we're excited. You're shooting that too, aren't you? Yeah, I'm shooting the Mossy Oak Bottomland.
It was good.
Yeah.
Really, I think it's like a really, like I said to Zach when I was shooting yesterday, it just feels right. Like there's just something about the size. It's so quiet. It just feels like the weight, like everything. It's just a really nice bow to shoot.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's very quiet. And I remember, so when I was getting a new bow this year, and I remember wanting a bow. I wanted to shoot a bow that I knew that was not going to blow up on me. Yeah. That's a big thing because when we're spot and stalking, we love to spot and stalk the Wellses. We are on our feet. We are on our. You guys are too, but we're constantly moving. And so when I was messaging back and forth with somebody from Hoyt, I was just like, I want a bow that's not going to blow up in my face. And he's like, well, Sydney, they put their bows through this test where they dry fire it like X amount and it just doesn't blow up. So I don't know the whole numbers. Like maybe you can look that up and share that with everybody. But I thought it was very interesting and just puts a lot of trust in the bow. Yeah. It's a beautiful bow too. I love the way it looks and just feels. Yeah. And I think it's a very hot bow on the market right now.
For sure. Yeah. And Bottomland also, like the Bottomland dip is like such a trend right now. I feel like camo is like country music and camo are so popular right now, and it's a trend that's good.
Country Outdoors is thrilled to have partnered with Moultrie Mobile. This fall is an extremely busy fall for us. We've just been out in Colorado elk hunting, and now I have my Iowa tag that I drew, and Zach and I both drew Kansas, which means we're going to be scattered all across the country. So we've done the same with our cameras this season. That means we can get the intel in the field when we aren't there. As you guys know, when it comes to those big bucks in Midwest, as soon as they pop out, you want to get out there as quick as you can. And because of Moultrie's crystal clear images and videos and the ability to connect to all 4 US cellular networks, you're never going to have to worry about getting those images and videos when you need them. The app is also loaded with amazing features like weather, mapping, and buck prediction in the game plan feature. Get an edge with the Moultrie Edge 2 series cameras and the Moultrie mobile app. When you think of the biggest hunting shows, the most legendary hunting shows in outdoor television, what channel do you think of? Outdoor Channel. Country Outdoors is very proud of our partnership with Outdoor Channel, which started during the pandemic in 2020 with our turkey tour, which has now evolved into our popular adventure series 4 years later. We are available on all Outdoor Channel digital outlets, including My Outdoor TV. And guys, they're giving out a free subscription to My Outdoor TV, so go and check it out.
Yeah. I like it. It just looks good. It feels good. It's just fun to shoot. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful bows out there, but yeah, it's just like having that Hoyt. And I love the thing is why I geared towards Hoyt this year. And this isn't even like an ad read for everybody listening. It's like I love what they value. They share a lot of hunting on their sites too. And I am a die-hard bow hunter, and I grew up being a die-hard bow hunter, and I love like the way they value things. What I've seen so far, I've really enjoyed, and the people I've talked to were just awesome and very nice. And I don't know, I'm just very excited to shoot the bow. It's a great bow, it's a great product, and there's great people behind it. And this is the first year they have a bottomland on the RX-8, and I'm just very excited. I'm excited for bow season. I'm getting pumped up thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I've shot it a couple of times. It's just kind of crazy. I got to get back home. It's making me think like, dang, I need to get home and start shooting some more.
Yeah, I love it. So, okay, before we wrap up, what's been your most challenging hunt or challenging time in your career? And then what has been your highlight?
Oh, that's a lot. Okay, so challenging, I would say, is at the very beginning, to be honest, is learning what works and what doesn't, and being on my own and delegating tasks and getting a small little team, just me and my producer together, and knowing what my job really entailed. I had no idea. Nobody told me what to do. Nobody helped me. I literally learned how to be my own content creator. I grew into this job. Like, I failed a bunch. I've won a bunch too. There's been a lot of success and a lot of failure too. And I think that was the hard part, just really learning how to become my own and take criticism, and also the hate that can drive you up a wall if you let it, and make you have a lot of anxiety. So I've had some anxiety.
Don't live in the comment section.
Yeah, like a lot of anxiety comes with social media. When social media is your job, it can really, you don't want to be on your phone. I'll tell you that much. I'm really bad at texting people back and calling people back, because when I post my stuff, I like to be in a little hole. I don't want anybody to bother me. I just want to live in the real world.
Yeah.
So that's been the tough part, learning how to
navigate the wall.
Yeah, and dissociate, like this is real life. So what you see on social media is only like
this is entertainment,
a percent of somebody's life.
For sure.
Yeah. So like disconnecting from those two.
Yep.
You asked two questions.
And then and then what has been like a career highlight or just life highlight? Obviously the engagement, but what's been the highlight?
Of like just life in general or work?
Both.
Yeah, so I think I just love my job and I love my people around me. I feel like I'm very content in my life right now. A highlight has definitely been this past year. I've been pretty content where everything's at, and I think that I have not made my job my life, and in the past my life was my job, and I lived to work and work, and now I've just really taken a step back, and if I don't need a video out, I don't do a video, and I really sit back and enjoy it and spend time with my friends and my family. And that's just been a really big highlight, because I love to hunt and everything. It's been like my last year, a big highlight for my job actually was filling both my Illinois tags. I've never done that before, so that was a lot of work put into it, but that was genuinely the happiest I've been, like shooting two beautiful white-tailed deer in Illinois with my dad filming filming it. It's so cute, because my dad doesn't like other people filming me, because he's like, I want to hunt with you. Because he enjoys it. Like, he gets emotional.
You're his
and
buddy.
We're best friends. Like, he's 61 years old. He's not going to be here forever. And I have a hard time thinking about that with my parents, because
but he ain't slowing down anytime soon.
But I know he's not. But like, we have so much time together still. But I sometimes think about that. And that's such a bad thing to think about. But when you love, like, it's like your friend, like it's you don't know when. I don't want to ever live without my parents. Yeah. It hurts thinking about that. But no, that was a highlight. And then just living in the moment, just having when you're in social media and you're in entertainment or whatever the heck you do and you love it and you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you get consumed with work and you don't think about, oh my gosh, I have these people around me that love me and want to spend time with me. And you know what? I might die and go to heaven tomorrow, but I don't want to look back and be like, I should have hung out with these people and I should have taken the time. It's kind of like this trip. It's like, I haven't seen you in so long and I'm like, I could sit home and relax and be just at home, but I haven't hung out with my friend Mary in a minute. I want to come hang out with her and make that minute because she's got a kid now too. When's the last time the next time I'm going to hang out with her?
Well, I think there's like, there's in Ecclesiastes in the Bible, there's a passage about there's a time for everything. And I think it's kind of like last year was your season for hustling and you had to because you, not last year, but the last 4 years, last 3 years, you're learning something new. You had to learn how to do it. You can't step back and take a breather if you can't trust that the process is going to play out smoothly, right? And like you worked really hard to learn how to do that and to learn you essentially created a blueprint for your role that didn't exist before, right? Like there wasn't actually a proper blueprint for what this should look like for it to be successful and long-term anyway, as opposed to just posting content on the internet. Do you know what I mean? Like you created
There's a system. You don't just post, you don't just go on these random trips. You have to have a system. And
if you want to have longevity.
Exactly.
And so like you learned all of this, but now it's like, now you can step back and smell the roses a little bit and enjoy the fruits of your labor and still work hard, but have a process behind it that you can trust in because you've put that work in. So it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's important for anybody in their life. Like, you should really just take time. Everybody should grind in life and try to get to
hard when they need to. Though.
Yeah, everybody needs to work hard. Like I'm gonna continue to work my butt off. Like I'm not stopping. Like I'm only 26. I am working. I have a lot more to do and a lot more to conquer, but we're getting older and it's important to make time for the people that love you and need you and just, it's not like every day or every week or once a month, you just need to relax and enjoy the life that you have actually, you gotta stop, I gotta look back at the 26 years. If you're 50, if you're 60, if you're 30, you have to look back at your 30 years and be like, wow.
You have to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Look at where I'm at.
Right.
I've done that, or if you're anxious about something or somebody's giving you a hard time, which I've been there and that's been some of my lows. If I get anxious, it's like, no, you gotta stop and think like, why? You gotta pray about it. You should definitely pray about the anxiety. And 2, you should think, does that really matter? Like, look what I just did and conquered. If you did some, because, when we're younger and you mess up and you do things like, oh, I cannot believe I did that. Well, I did it and I overcame that and I learned from it and here I am and I'm happy as heck.
I love that. And so last little bit, what advice would you give for, and I know that's a hard thing to ask because you're still in the developing years of this career, but for young content creators that are wanting to create a platform for themselves, have you got a couple tips for them?
Yeah, I think the biggest things is don't get consumed by social media and say or maybe do things to fit a narrative, as in be your own person. And like, if you think something's right, do it. If you think something's wrong, call it out. Like, you don't need to follow a certain path or be followed behind somebody's suit. Like, you are your own person and God made you for who you are, and really just take hold of that and make your own path in life, especially in content, because people are going to tell you what to do. People are going to say this is great or this is not great, or be really rude because social media is ruthless and people say things that I'm like, I cannot believe you would just say that as a human. Like, humanity is crazy. But don't listen to people. That's a big thing. I'm literally 26. I'm learning so much. I make mistakes and try to learn from them. And people are going to tell me all the time, like, you suck, or you do this, or whatever. This shouldn't be a female. It should be a male. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care at the end of the day, because I'm like, I'm happy and I'm doing good. And I know I'm doing good. So you have to keep that mentality, even if you have 4 views on the content world. Just if you love it, keep doing it. Consistency is key. Don't do it for a month. Stop for a month. Do it for a month. Consistency. Don't listen to anybody. Anxiety may come with social media. If you don't, I am happy for you. But anxiety is the devil. And honestly, you just have to pray about it. Talk to somebody about it, like your buddy. Just hype yourself up, and everything's gonna be fine. If you want to do content, anybody can do content. Like I said, grab a GoPro. Grab a GoPro. Grab a goat, people. Grab a goat. Grab a GoPro and just film on your phone. Anybody can do social media. That's the beauty of it. Like, this world's crazy. You don't need a camera.
So bottom line is, be authentic to who you are. Don't try and be somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out how to be the best version of yourself, and then figure out how to create content that's authentic to you and be consistent with what you put out. And don't listen to the haters.
Don't listen to the haters. People are mean. Don't let your mom watch. Don't let your mom or your dad look at the comments either, because they'll call you and say, "Did you see what this person said?" And you're like, "No, Mom, I didn't." But now you make
thanks for telling me.
Yeah, but now my feelings are hurt.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we got to chat. And everybody, stay tuned to see if Sydney gets a big monster whitetail down this season, and everything else that she's up to on Barstool Outdoors. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture, and you have to say what it is, and then I'll say what it is in Australia.
Okay. It's like tinfoil.
Aluminium foil.
Aluminum?
Aluminium.
Aluminum foil.
Aluminium foil.
That's what you guys say?
Aluminium. Yeah.
You just don't, like, aluminium.
Aluminium.
That's wild. It's definitely aluminum.
Aluminium.
Oh, I just used that. I literally just used that for my yard. What's that called? I know what it is. I just used it. What is that called? A weed eater. Thank you.
Whippersnipper.
That's weird. A whipper snipper. That's kind of
Whippersnipper.
That kind of sounds scary. Briefs?
Knickers or nut huggers?
Or underwear?
Nut huggers.
I think you can just come up with some. What's a Shell gas station?
That's a servo.
It's called Shell. It has a shell on it.
Servo. It's where you get services done.
It's so weird. You were saying stuff today that I was like, what is she saying? You said something like I don't even know what you said. It was weird. A sippy? You wanted to get a sip.
A sippy. A cup. Sipperoo. Sippy.
Good, next.
My cups taste like
Hey,
baby formula.
So you're looking at what's lifted.
The engine?
The thing at the front that's lifted.
What are you lifting?
The hood of the truck?
The bonnet.
Like a hair bonnet. That's so weird. Oh, a tissue?
Yeah, tissue.
What do people say?
Americans say Kleenex.
Well, that's a brand.
That's you said Shell gas. This says Shell.
Well, that doesn't have a brand on it. A biscuit.
A scone.
A scone? That's not a scone. Do you know what a scone is?
Yeah, that's a scone.
That is not a scone.
Yeah, you put jam and whipped cream on it. You're going to eat scones when you go to England, lady.
Yeah, but that's
With
not
the
a scone. That's a
queen.
biscuit.
It's a scone. It's literally the exact same thing.
We're gonna
Trust
look it
me.
up. We're gonna look it up.
When
after
you
this.
go to England, you're going to get given a scone, and you're going to be like, FYI, in Australia, we say scone, not scone. And you're going to be
Scone.
Why'd they give me a biscuit and some jam and cream?
Dram. That's what you just said. Excuse me. I just burped. Those are shortbread cookies.
They're biscuits.
Okay, well, I'll give you that one because I've heard people call them biscuits. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Are we done?
We're done.